All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Happy in the States. We're celebrating Memorial Day today. Happy Memorial Day to those of you that celebrate and honor, I guess I should say, honor this day. So I'll just wait for a few people to pop on here. But just to introduce myself, I'm Jamie Wozni. If you guys don't know me, I'm a light activation guide and mentor. So I serve others, other light workers, other healers, other divine souls who are ready to shine, who are ready to be seen, who are ready to be heard, who are ready to feel safe, expressing their magnificent gifts in the world, their radiant light, their authentic truth. And so I'm here to take you on that journey of honestly hiding to shining and having to be good in the world, to be loved and accepted, to the liberation of being real, of being your authentic truth. And then the byproduct of that is abundance. I remember hearing a teacher say that once, and it was confusing to my brain, but so true, that abundance in all its forms, financial, health, all of it, is a direct reflection of you bringing all of you to the table. What is most wild for you? And by wild, I mean natural, in its most natural form, and its most authentic, true essence. So when you are you, not programmed you, not traumatized you, not what was handed down to you, but you, in your own uniqueness, sharing your gifts with the world, being yourself, that is where your resource, that's where the abundance comes from to allow you to continue to move in the world. So I'm glad you found me if that resonates with you. And today I just want to share a short conversation of something that's so liberating because we're not taught. We don't have class in school when we're younger called Emotional Intelligence 101. And we should, because I'm 38 now and I was never taught this. And I know for me, I had to hear teachers say this to me over and over and over again because I didn't trust it. I was like, that doesn't make sense. No one in the world lives that way. And I think for me personally, I had to go on the journey of having that desperation at first, of my physical body breaking down, of not feeling good, of getting, what the world calls sick, and things not working out the traditional way for me. So you can resonate with that. A lot of us, feel awful. We experience sickness, we experience anxiety, we experience depression, we experience whatever we're experiencing. And it pushes us because the way that the world's doing it isn't working for us. So it pushes us into the unknown, pushes us to be a visionary. It pushes us to do something that we don't see in the world. And that's scary, right? So sometimes we have to find these people and find these mentors that say, like I'm saying today, I know you can't see it. I know it's the minority way that the world is, but it's the way that is in alignment with peace and truth and what is most natural, right? And these great spiritual teachers have been talking about the same stuff for eons. So interesting when something is a habit in our world, or sometimes you might hear the spiritual phrase collective consciousness, right? We're all kind of doing something a certain way and we're going with the pack. And just because our world's doing something a certain way doesn't necessarily mean it's the best way. Doesn't mean it's the most helpful way. Doesn't mean it's the most heart-aligned way. And so we kind of fall asleep to it because we just grow up like that. Like, I've just been doing that my whole life. That's society, that's culture, that's safe, that's what everybody does. And we don't stop and pull ourselves out of the pack and use our rational mind and think, is this working? Is this true? Is this helpful? And so that's what I'm inviting you to do, is just because it's the minority. Thanks. I'm glad this is what you needed to hear. Thanks for being here. Even though it's the minority, doesn't mean it's not something that is so brilliant, so intelligent, and something to hold on to. I know for me, that was really scary. And that continues to be, to like break away from what you've known, because you're like, is this safe? Is this real? Is this trustworthy? And that can be really confusing to us. So what I wanted to share today, emotional intelligence. What are our emotions, and how can we actually use them as a positive thing? How can we use them as a guide back home, as I was saying in the beginning, to our authentic truth? So it's really hard for us, and sometimes we can. If we have teachers and journals and we're very, very aware people, but it's hard for us to see our unconscious thinking. But a way that we can be aware of what we're thinking is our emotions, is our feeling, because that's more in our face, right? It's like the snowball that started at the top of the hill as a thought and it collected more snow. And then when it's at the bottom of the hill, you're very aware of that big ball of snow at the bottom of the hill. So all we have to do in any given moment is just to slow down, pause. Sometimes we can place our hand on our heart and just notice how we feel. How are you feeling? We ask ourselves, not to judge ourselves, not to say, I shouldn't feel, as information. I remember a friend's mom had cancer, and he taught her that the cancer was information. And I absolutely loved that, because we can hear the scariest things in the world about what it is that we're diagnosed with, what it is that we have. But it's like, okay, this is your body trying to tell you something. Maybe you're not following your heart. Maybe you've repressed anger. Maybe you are carrying generational trauma you're ready to let go of. Like, who knows on what level it is? But can we start to tune into our body? You know, here's another thing we have in our world. People just get things. People just have things. This is haphazard. And yeah, maybe I'm not sitting here saying I'm a know-it-all. Maybe there's that sometimes. But what I've seen in my life, me personally, the things that I've gone through have been there because of something I was suppressing, because of something my heart wasn't following, because something was outdated or this food wasn't in alignment with what my body wanted, et cetera, et cetera. So what if we could stop that unconscious asleep at the wheel? Like, I just have this thing's just here. Like, again, that's the thing of the pack. Everybody just has this, like, stuff's just random. And go, maybe, but what if it isn't random? Can I close my eyes? Can I take a deep breath? And can I ask my body, what are you trying to tell me? There's intelligence here. So I'm going to pause on that and go back to the emotional intelligence. Because we can't see our thinking very easily, and it's kind of underground in our unconscious mind, we can see what we're spinning in our heads. And when we have this conversation, I want you to come at it with compassion and innocence, because we're not doing it on purpose. It's unconsciously been passed down. We're regurgitating it. But thank God we have our emotions and what we've created in our life to see what we're doing. So again, if we move from victim to life is happening to me, this is random, to, oh, okay, this is a lot of responsibility to hold, but I'm a conscious co-creator. And my life is a reflection of what either unconsciously, innocently, or consciously I'm creating in my life. And sometimes we're like, I would never create that for myself. You know, I created a disease for myself, but it was what I needed unconsciously to feel safe. Because I didn't feel safe being seen. I didn't feel safe shining in the world. It looked scary to me. So on one level, we come with innocence for the little one that created that. And then on another level, you know, we look and we say, okay, I wonder what's going on in there that would have my life look like this, that would have my emotions look like this. So again, this isn't the way that the pack sees things. So I ask you to just test it for yourself. See if it works for you. See if it makes you feel better. But yesterday I had such an extreme shift in consciousness from this, is why I'm sharing it with you today. So we can see what thinking we have. We can see where we're vibrating. Now, this is so huge for you to hear. Just because we can see it doesn't mean it's wrong. Because we might be like, oh my God, because right now I just came out of an extreme sensation of anger. Couldn't kick it. I could allow myself to go, oh my God, you're aware of this anger. Now that I can see, I can feel my thinking. So I'm there. I'm aware of what I'm creating. I shouldn't feel that. So again, we're getting information with compassion. We're getting information going. That is a fierce ball of energy. That's that snowball, and it's fired up and it's bigger and bigger and bigger. So we use it as information to see, okay, that's what unconsciously has been programming. The energy's been moving in that direction. I've been pulling in proof. That's my world. So we don't have to be scared of our emotions and have them feel overwhelming and have them feel like they're going to make us explode. It's like, oh, cool. This is really intense. I'm super aware of what's been created in my head. And sometimes that's enough for us to, it kind of lets itself go from us. Sometimes that's enough, right? Because we're like, this isn't personal. This isn't me. This isn't, the content doesn't necessarily matter because your ego is going to tell you that the content matters. This is an emotionally intelligent compass letting me know, oh, I feel angry. That must mean I have a lot of angry thinking going on that I'm creating. And from that information, we can say from a conscious level, great, now I'm going to let this energy process, which is where the compassion comes in. So compassion allows energy to move. So when I was feeling the anger, I just kept saying to myself, it's okay. It's okay. This energy that's here from God knows where, from God knows what moments in time it got created, passed down, defense mechanism, whatever. Sometimes it's helpful to know, but I'm just pulling away from it a little bit. We say hello to it. We say, it's okay. We say, I understand. I get it. It's not the way we're taught, right? The pack's like, should feel this way. I'm a bad person, blah, 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 blah. Does that work for you? Does that let the energy move? So we get to gather the information. Oh, feeling happy. I must have a lot of happy thoughts. We don't have to change the thoughts or go in there and rework them. We can, but for this to work, we don't have to. It's information that's just telling me. So my rage, my jealousy, my joy, my unworthiness, whatever you're experiencing, it's not because you're an a-hole. Like, it's information. It's like, oh, this is just my unconscious mind was moving in this direction. Okay. We're not going to dehumanize the experience because again, we transcend, we see, and then we come into the body and we allow it to move through. We don't have to get all, messy in there, but we do have to let the energy process. Energy, Einstein figured this out for us, is neither created or destroyed. It's alive and it transmutes. So once it's here, we have to allow it to transmute and leave. So it's okay. All these emotions are information. And the way we were supposed to be taught in fifth grade was let it come so you can know what you're creating. Great. Thank you, God, who created everything, source, whatever it is, for giving me an emotional intelligence, for letting my body feel all of this so I know what type of life I'm creating for myself. Instead of there's something wrong with me, give me a pill, we got to do this, got to fix my anger, got to fix my this. No, information, compassion, information, compassion. Breathe, let the energy move through. Okay, so yesterday, I can't remember I think it was fear. There was impatience, I noticed too. There was impatience and fear. And I think that was it for me. But I closed my eyes, put my hand on my heart, which is what I'm inviting you to do when we turn this video off. I became aware of what I was feeling, noticed it, used it as information. Oh, this is just little me having a habit of this feeling, right? Not gonna make it wrong. And here's another important point here. Another intelligent system in our body is that when something feels heavy or uncomfortable to us, it's not our truth. Again, we don't have to make it wrong. We got to let the energy move through, but it isn't our truth. So for example, my impatience I was noticing yesterday, impatience feels blah, right? And it feels like that for a reason. When we're little and we go to grab a hot pot on the stove, it hurts for a reason so that we pull our hand off. But again, we're not taught this emotional intelligence, so we stew and we stew and we stew and we stew. Ooh, this impatience hurts. But I have to be consciously aware enough to slow down, not run to the next thing so I don't feel my impatience or try to make myself feel better. Slow down. Oh, this feels uncomfortable. That's a clue that this isn't my truth. How would we know what our truth was? What we love to do in life, what foods are good for us, what people are good for us. That's how we know. It has a yesness to it. It has a rightness to it. It has an expansion to it. It has a lightness to it. So even you might think, well, then when I feel sadness or when I feel anger, energy without the story, these feelings in their form, in their raw form, lasts 90 seconds. They did a study with children to move through the body. They last 90 seconds, okay? So there is a peace and an okayness in raw energy just moving through you. We call it in psychology, I learned years ago, clean pain and dirty pain. So there's a lightness in emotions too. When they're just like, or you're grieving and you have a good cry, and there's a lightness as it moves. So there can be a lightness around perceived negative things, but all you have to remember is this in alignment with me, my truth in the present moment? And if there's a heaviness to it, oh, that must be because I'm carrying something around in my brain that's trying to keep me safe, or was passed down, or is a collective habit. That's how we could free ourselves from being bombarded by the muck of the collective consciousness, right? Do I feel light or do I feel heavy? So we're aware of the emotion. We close our eyes. Where am I? Do I feel light or do I feel heavy? Can I just take it as information of what I'm creating? Can I let it move through me if I need to by holding it with compassion? It's okay, right? So I did this process yesterday, and the energy shifted, the energy moved, the energy released. And because I realized that I wasn't this bad, horrible person that was carrying this thing around, I had some space between it. It was like, oh, that's information. And it released. And this joy took its place, this peace, this vibrancy, this warmth. And I noticed myself dancing and wanting to cook and singing and filled with energy. Now that's available to all of us, these higher feelings. And we can't suppress the other stuff. And just what most of us are doing is we're missing the bar a little bit, because we're getting into these habits and addictions that give us a temporary hit because we're trying to get to that deeper feeling of joy and peace and dancing of spirit. But if we understand, again, that's backwards. That's our society teaching us that stuff's bad. I'm a bad person if I feel this. It's just backwards. Like, I'm not a bad person if I feel, using it as information. And I'm going to let myself, with compassion, know that it's energy and it transmutes, and that when I don't judge it, it can move. And if it's light or if it's heavy, I can use it to go, oh, is this in alignment with my truth or not? Great, I can let it go if it's not. It kind of lets itself go. So when you become more aware of what isn't you, you don't have to push it away. It's just like, oh, the awareness of, oh, that was never me, on an in your bones level, it releases. And then your natural state moves to the surface, so we can maneuver through our lives with so much more grace and ease. We can allow our emotions just to be an intelligent guidance system for us. And we can know that they're natural and human. It's like, yeah, it's a guidance system. And yeah, I'm human, and I'm going to let this move through me with compassion. And amazing. Thank goodness I have this to tell me what I'm creating in my brain, unconsciously or consciously. And then I can choose to, as we've seen in many of my other videos on manifestation, which check them out. Once the energy moves, I can open up to conscious creation, feeling the feelings behind the things that my heart longs for. So then I can move into, still allowing the emotion. Oh, great, this is what I'm creating. Now I want to consciously create. So I'm just going to allow myself to breathe in. Wow, wouldn't it be cool if I had the best day ever and I'm so aligned and this magic came into my life, right? Then we can move into different feelings to create for ourselves. Okay? So hopefully that served you. Let me know what you think. I know for me, I had to hear this a gazillion times before I trusted it. But just keep your mind open to it. Keep your mind open to, hey, man, we used to think the world was flat, and that seemed really real. And then we updated our system, and we're like, how did we see it that way? And we're in an expansion like that. We used to think that we were bad and wrong and identified by our emotions and all of this stuff. And we haven't seen the expanded, upgraded system that helps us heal our bodies. It helps us bring this had I not sat down, I doubt I would have had the dinner that I had, the joy and the love and the lightness. And that feeling was everything. And we look for that feeling in the world. We look for that feeling in rearranging all sorts of stuff. And I got it inside without my life having to change, because I understood how to move my emotions and how to move energy and what they were, right? And that's available to everybody. I'm not anything special. Okay, so I'm sending you lots of love. Happy Memorial Day. Oh, and if this interests you, if this type of conversation interests you right now, I have an 8-week course that I put the link to in the notes. It's called Liberate Your Sacred Light. You can go at your pace. It's 8 lessons for sensitive souls, gifted souls, divinely guided souls to really move through. And I do a course in there on manifestation too, on how to move into these conscious states of being that you actually want. So if you're like me and you felt like you were hiding and you know you have gifts and you want to share them with the world, you feel bombarded by energy, you don't know how to get out, this is a wonderful course of 8 of my most popular lessons that I taught this on Insight Timer Live. It was really successful. And then I ended up making a course out of it so that you could have it in your own home and be there with my support. Okay. So the link for that is in the notes, called Liberate Your Sacred Light. If you enjoyed this, feel free to follow me and like and share it with anybody else that you think could be served with learning more about their emotions. And be sure to check me out at my website, jamiewosny.com, and follow me on Instagram at Jamie Wosny. Happy Memorial Day. Sending you all lots of love, and I'll see you next Monday at 11 Pacific.